Hi everyone! For today's video, I'm going to be crocheting a capybara amigurumi. Come and follow along! I'm using the Flutterby chunky yarn in a fawn color and a 5mm hook as well as DMC embroidery thread. I have started trying to crochet the capybara amigurumi and so far it's been really challenging. I think I've been trying to put it off because I was really apprehensive about creating the magic ring. It's been such a long time since I crocheted a magic ring, and it was intimidating to me. And if you can see by the amount of damage that has been done to this, I've pulled it apart maybe 6 times. It's been a challenge. Another thing about working with this yarn is that it's so difficult to see the stitches, so that's why I keep taking it apart. The stitch definition is not great. Good news! I think I've done the first 2 rounds of the pattern, so now I'm going to do the 3rd round. So I always do the first stitch of the next round and then mark it with a stitch marker. If not, I would definitely lose sight of the first stitch of each round, because this yarn, like, I can't really tell where the stitches are, and that's just really tough for me because I'm used to crocheting with acrylic yarn. So this is definitely turning out to be an interesting challenge for me. So it's a little bit later and I have been working on the head of my capybara. It is turning out really well. Stitch definition gets a bit clearer as I go along. I think the beginning was definitely the hardest part when I was doing the first row. So now it's getting a lot easier and I'm enjoying the process. It is really soft, this yarn. I quite like using it, and I think I might order some more of this yarn in different colors. So yeah, I'm happy with my progress so far. I don't know about you guys, but my posture is really bad when I crochet. Like, I'm usually hunched over, especially if I have my crochet project on my lap. So comment down below if you have tips on how to maintain good posture while crocheting. And hats off to all the crochet YouTubers who can chit chat and talk to the camera while crocheting, because I have had to concentrate and focus on this so much that I think I'm gonna take a break from this amigurumi project and I'm going to work on my sweater, because that is just a double crochet repeat and I can just watch something without having to think about the project. So I'm gonna call it a day for this. I'll come back and continue it later on. It is the next day, it's a Tuesday, and I'm surprised to be here because I thought that this amigurumi would take me a few days. But yesterday, after I crocheted my sweater, I picked up the capybara again and I finished it. I crocheted for 6 hours straight. And it's done! There you go. My camera's really bad at focusing, so I might use my phone to put another, maybe a better video of it, but it's done! I have some thoughts about a few things, and I'll just be referring to my phone to share with you guys what the process was like. So I'm gonna comment on a few things, like the materials, the pattern, the process, and the product. So first, let's start with the materials. I made this with the Flutterby Yarn, and I had been thinking about using the kind of plush chenille yarn for a while. I'm quite happy with the yarn. It costs more to purchase it in store rather than purchase it online. The difference was about 70 pence, but because I'm at an experimental stage, I didn't know what kind of yarn I would like. I didn't know what the experience would be like, so I wanted to buy one skein and try it out in something that only required one color, and that's why I chose this pattern and that's why I chose that yarn. There were a lot of yarns that I saw in store, that I had been considering when I saw them online. And when I saw them in store, I thought to myself that it was such a good thing that I didn't buy that yarn online, because the skein was much smaller than I expected, or it didn't feel like the kind of yarn that I was hoping to try out. So if you have a craft store near your house, I would advise that you go and check out the yarn before purchasing it online, even if it's cheaper online. It was relatively easy to use. I think I struggled at the beginning because I hadn't used this type of yarn before, and it was a learning process for me. So I definitely struggled with the initial part of creating the magic ring, especially, and that's because I'm also not used to creating a magic ring anymore. After getting used to the yarn, it was really nice to use. It's really soft. It does shed, and I'll put a video of the yarn sheddings that I collected. The stitch definition is quite good. You can still see where the stitches are. I really like this plain beige fawn color. I think it's so perfect for this pattern. I didn't expect this, but I use very little yarn. You can see that it still looks like a full skein. So I think that I use maybe 15% of the yarn. I don't know how to measure how much yarn I used, but I still have quite a sizable chunk of yarn even after using the yarn to make my little capybara, so I'm really happy about that. I would definitely be using Flutterby or Flutterby again. And the hook that I used, which was a 5mm hook, was also, I think, the right size for this yarn, even though it recommends a 6mm hook. The pattern was by Shine Craft, and it was really easy to follow. There was no video tutorial, and I just relied on the written pattern. The only thing is that I would maybe sew the head a little differently, but the pattern was really easy to use, even for a beginner like myself. For someone who was creating an amigurumi, and one that is this complex, it was complex for me. It definitely challenged my skills in the process. The part that was, I think, the most challenging for me was sewing everything on, and also the beginning part, the magic ring. I didn't know what to do with the ends, because I feel like inside of my capybara there's like so many little ends inside that are not done well, and I'm so sorry. It took me 6 hours in total to crochet this little one, but that's because I was learning along the way, relearning how to create a magic ring, and I didn't expect it, but these little tiny limbs take such a long time. And also I want him to be able to sit down, and he can sit pretty well, so I'm quite pleased with that. You can kind of flatten his butt. So even though his head is quite large, he doesn't topple over. I absolutely love this little fella. He looks so cute. I don't have safety eyes yet, so that's why I chose an amigurumi that didn't need safety eyes. His eyes are sewed on with my embroidery thread. He's quite squishy and soft as well. I made sure not to overstuff him. I'm really happy with the product. I can't stop looking at his tiny little tail. First life lesson is that the hardest part is the beginning. I was procrastinating so much, and I was so scared to start trying out something new that it took me a while to get started. Once I looked up a video on how to make a magic ring, I just got sucked into the process, and I enjoyed every part of it. I didn't realize that time had flown by. After I kind of finished him, I came back to life. It's like my body suddenly remembered, oh yeah, I'm in the real world. I need to like move, and my knees were so stiff because I had been sitting cross-legged. Yeah, the hardest part is getting started, and after that I feel like you will just enjoy everything along the way. Second thing I learned is to kind of be gentle, because this yarn is not as sort of hardy as the acrylic yarn. You definitely need to treat it with more tender loving care, and along the way be gentle with yourself. And this is kind of a reminder to myself, mostly because I am a straight up perfectionist, and I was in my head pretty hard on myself, especially the sewing parts. He still turned out pretty okay. So be gentle on yourself. If you're starting a new learning process, just give yourself grace and make sure to enjoy the process. And it's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if it's not perfect. So this pattern by Shine Craft is definitely worth making. I would 10 out of 10 recommend anyone to try this. If you need a capybara in your life, please make this cute little guy. And he is going to be such a good desk friend for me, I think. I don't have a desk, but I love him. I'm not qualified to give these tips, but just putting it out there. First tip is to use stitch markers, because those babies saved my life. I would have been so lost without my stitch markers. They are going to help so much in helping you keep track of the row and where it begins. And the second tip, make sure you take a break, because I got so wrapped up in this project that I just completely forgot that I existed in this world. It's like I got transported to an alternate realm where all I had to do was crochet. So I definitely would advise people to take breaks, do whatever you have to do, set a timer, you know, get your significant other to bug you once in a while, but take a break. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys is actually this Bible verse from Psalm 139. It says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." This is Psalm 139, 13 to 14. And it's such a beautiful verse. And after I created this capybara, I just thought to myself that I put this together and I stitched it together with so much love and care, and I made him, and we are made by our creator, God, and he put a lot of love and care into us as well when he created us and when he formed us. So I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Goodness. But if I could love my little capybara so much, I imagine that the love of God for me is just infinitely greater than that. So I've completed my mission for the week. So here ends the video, and stay tuned for what I'm going to create for my next amigurumi project. I have a lot of patterns lined up because I kept seeing cute patterns as I was scrolling online, so I saved a lot of them, and I have a long list of amigurumi that I want to create. But if you have any recommendations, you can feel free to drop them in the comments below too, and I will check them out. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. No, he can't cover the whole thing.